Hi everyone, this is Austin with Sun Fun Kids. So today we're going to go over which is going to be our production version of our heated battery case. There have been some upgrades and some changes, and we want to just kind of give you an overview. So if we'll just begin, I guess, by showing the actual case itself. So the case itself is made with heavy-duty 1680 DN fabric, which is waterproof, and it's actually the same material most fighter jackets are made out of, so it's extremely strong. The heated version of the jacket includes a aluminum heating pad as well as a multi-option switch with terminals that then connect to your battery. So now we'll actually look a closer look at the aluminum heat pad. It is removable. You'll notice the bottom half of the bag actually has aluminum foil lining. It's not actually aluminum foil, it's just reflective, so it's not conductive, but the bottom portion just helps reflect the heat a little better. The top of the case is the same type of 1680 DN material. It's very heavy duty. So let's look at some of the heating components. So this is the actual aluminum heating plate that is at the bottom of the case. It has a DC-based connector, and it can easily support the weight of the battery. While running, it uses approximately 60 to 75 watts of total power. So the power has been slightly increased, and it will cycle on and off based on when the temperature has reached. Next is the actual switch that controls the heating. So you will see that there's a multi-option switch, and it is removable. That's important because if you already have a battery that includes built-in heating, you may not want to necessarily pay for a heated battery jacket. So we'll explain that in a little bit on how you can actually have the jacket itself, which provides good insulation as well as water resistance, or you can have one that has, if you don't have a heated battery, you can have something that will heat the battery and provide water resistance, and it essentially makes any non-heated battery into a sort of heated battery. Alright, so now we're going to take one of our SFK 275 HV batteries and put it into the case and show you how that process is. Basically, just pick your battery up and insert it into the case. By the way, before we do that, we do want to let you know that your wires are actually held in place by a Velcro, and the switch itself has its own thermo probe. So this is the setting, the switch that we'll use to determine what the ambient temperature of inside the enclosure is, and based on that, it will turn the heating on and off. Now we're going to go ahead and put that battery in. All right, the battery's in. As you can see, it's pretty snug, but still has sufficient room. So now we're going to mount the heating terminals as well as run a cable through it so that we have a fully enclosed, ready-to-go battery that's in the jacket. Alright, so as you can see, we got the wires inside and we bolted them down. Now, we didn't tighten these bolts down all the way, but normally you would tighten them with a drive and make sure they're snug. Just make sure that the very bottom must be the main lug and the heating terminals sit on top. So you want to make sure that is done, and once that's done, you basically you know, have a nice access port so you can connect to whatever you want. And then essentially you can basically zip up the unit. And that's pretty much going to give you a nice solid enclosure. It also basically doubles as a carrying case, so you can actually set it up so that you have a carrying case, and it's more than sufficient to hold your battery. The holes that are included can handle up to 1/0 cable. So there's a little bit of holes. It's not really going to affect the heating too much. But if you are worried, we might sell like a little adapter clip-on that you can go in there that will size it exactly to, you know, the most common. In case we normally always use 2-gauge cable, but it can accommodate up to 1/0 cable. So now let's we'll look at the thermostat functions, see how those work. All right, so assign The switch has 5 different modes. So to turn it on, just hold, and you'll see that number 1 is now on. That's sort of the eco mode. It's going to keep the temperature inside the case around 60 degrees, about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you have mode 2, which is our standard mode, which is what we're going to recommend for most. That's actually going to warm the inside of the case up to about 70 degrees, which is really the optimal temperature for lithium iron phosphate. That's what it likes to be in. It works the best. You get the most capacity out of your cells. So it'll keep the battery on to that, to 70. If you're in extremely cold environments, you can go to mode 3, which is going to basically run the thing to full power, and it can actually get it up to about 80 degrees. Now, this is only mode number 3 is really only for cold temperatures, where we're talking, you're in the negative 10, 15 degrees Celsius, or something like 0 degrees Fahrenheit, something very cold. So mode number 4 is actually a timer mode. It's going to keep the battery around 70 degrees, but it's going to shut off after 12 hours of run. If you are worried that, I don't really want to keep my battery running for too long, once you go to number 4, it's going to start a timer, which will keep the system sort of on, and it'll actually will turn on and off to maintain temperature, but for about 4 hours, for about 12 hours, it will run, and then it will turn off. And then finally, mode number 5 is similar to number 4, but the timer is now extended to 24. So it's going to keep the temperature within the case to about 70 degrees Fahrenheit for about 24 hours. So now let's look at if you already have a heated battery and you just want a case, how would that work? Alright, so basically very similar to the regular case, and actually it can be changed over to work just like the heated case. But if you already have a battery with internal heating and you just need a nice enclosure, basically here it is. It's the enclosure itself. You can put your battery inside, and you have a little patch that you can do. Now, why is this there? Well, let's say one day you decide, maybe I want a heating element. So it's very easy to take this patch off, and it'll reveal a sort of access hole. And basically, the thermal switch elements, you can basically insert through here. Let's see here. Sorry, it's a little tricky to film and do things at the same time. So basically, you'll route it through here and just Velcro it in place. And now, take your heating element, which is our this right here, and simply place it in place. And then you have the little Velcro to secure your wires. Position them the way that they need to. You can see we'll have that, and then we can Velcro it in place. And normally that pad will be connected to it, and you basically converted your non-heated bag to a heated bag. So very quickly you can interchange between the two. If you already have a heated battery, you don't need the heating elements. You would just get the bag. It would give you the water protection. And the insulation is very good. It is over 1 inch thick insulation. So it's really going to keep that heat inside and make sure the entire structure stays warm. And you won't lose heating, because one of the big problems that these heated batteries have that are on the elements is too much of whatever they're generating wicks away. And if you're in extreme, legit cold environments, half your battery life is just going to go to try to warm that battery up, and that's not doing anybody any good. So having an insulated case to keep the heat inside makes a huge difference. And in our test, your energy drain will go down to a third, up to even a fourth, depending on how cold it is. So these are really going to make a huge difference in terms of how your cold weather process is going to be. So we're going to be trying to get these ready probably for this upcoming winter season, which I know we just finished. The 2022-2021 season just finished. So for the 2023-2022 winter season, these will be ready and available. And just check back up on our website for people living, in cold weather that are having problems. This should help you guys tremendously. And it doesn't really matter if you already have batteries that were not cold weather rated, or if you're looking to get batteries that are cold rated, this will work well. Again, also, if you're in areas where there's a lot of water, this is going to be really well. It works way better than exposed terminal batteries, because a lot of times what people don't realize is the terminals on the batteries, when they're exposed, they will start corroding and rusting. This solves that problem. It basically isolates the entire battery. It makes it super clean, dust-proof, and considering how expensive our lithium batteries are, I think it's going to be a must. Thank you.